And welcome back to this divisional / championship edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. Gentlemen, we have endured members of the esteemed crew out gallivanting across the nation, technical difficulties with streaming and computers, and now our illustrious producer is MIA.
Once again, he's MIA.
However, despite all of this, we are here to give you the best and brightest analysis and previews of last week's games and also this coming week in championship weekend. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Coach, how was your trip, sir?
Man, it was freezing. It sucked. Let's move on.
Grizz, any other news? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Things from our last typing, let's just say a lot of things can happen in a small amount of time, but we're here, and that's all that matters.
Amen
to that. Good to have Gil back. We tried to do our first Zoom thing the other day. Didn't go so well, so that's why we're coming at you right now. Gil's not a fan of the cold. That's why we keep him nice and warm here in Miami.
That's why I live here. Exactly. So I stayed here. I've never left.
This is why we travel, and only for days, and that's it. We don't live in these places because we are accustomed to the greatness of what Miami has to offer. Unfortunately, our football team does not match.
Hey, baby. Well, again, we roll with the punches, and we are here to talk sports as we always do and have some fun doing it. So we're going to jump right into last weekend's divisional round, right, which I regard, and I know, Grizz, you would agree, and I think we all agree here, is the best weekend of professional football in the entire season, right? You have what many regard as the 8 best teams going at it, 2 games in each conference. We had... there was one exciting game, but everything else was pretty much decided fairly early on.
Yeah, you come up from last year, which was probably the best divisional round ever. It's hard to make that happen in consecutive years.
For sure.
The matchups said it. I think it's the first year we see like all the young quarterbacks get ready to step into that next level, because from the week before we lost the Bradys, the Rodgers didn't make it. It's just now it's the next of the best. But yeah, the games weren't as great, but it doesn't matter. We're here.
Yeah, sadly, some of the teams laid an egg. A big egg.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I mean, it's the only way I can look at you at this moment. It definitely isn't with loving eyes. But
overall, right, the 8 quarterbacks that were left in the divisional round from last weekend, the average age was 25, with Dak Prescott being the oldest one at 29. Is it safe to say that this was the changing of the guard, right? Like these are, some will regard the quarterbacks that we're going to see for the next decade in the NFL.
In reality, it's the present and the future, because they are here now, and these are the guys that are going to lead us for the next 6 to 7 seasons. These are the guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We've seen some of these names already before in Mahomes and Allen, but we added to the mix Trevor Lawrence, right? Jalen Hurts, Joey Burrows, Joey Ice over here, coming in hot, right? Fun fact, Mr. Himothy Burrow.
Himothy,
because he's him right now. Mr. Joe Burrow
Himothy
is 4-0 against the Bills and the Chiefs in this calendar year. So we better watch out, because we've been giving Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes a lot of praise this past calendar year plus, but this dude, all he does is go out there and win, baby, against these teams.
I think last year was his coming out party, especially after the knee injury. I think he showed everyone last year what he can do. Apart from his season at LSU, this year they also overcame some difficult situations throughout the season and are peaking at the right time, so to speak. So again, I think that Burrows has now put himself in that upper tier of quarterbacks.
Yeah, if you remember, they started 0-2. Not really easy to come back 0-2, make the playoffs. Even more, you have the Super Bowl runner-up slump. It always happens to the team that loses. They come back, something they don't even make the playoffs. So you got to give them props, man. They came out 0-2. They changed it up. They I think right now could easily be the favorite to win it all.
The Super Bowl hangover.
I mean,
they drank a Bloody Mary after the second game, and they're on fire.
Hair of the dog.
They got back. They got back on track.
I mean, the fact, and we'll get into it, but some of the things that they've done in the last couple of weeks to me show me I think they're the favorite, even though some could say it's the Eagles or Niners or the way they play. But you can't knock a team that was in the Super Bowl last year, win or lose. They're back in the mix. So
I'll tell you, the side of them that impresses me the most, and no one really talks about, is their defense. They do a great job. I mean, the other day, Peyton Manning was joking about, halftime adjustments. I never made a halftime adjustment. Blah, 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 blah. Cincinnati, obviously, defensively makes great halftime adjustments. And again, we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. But the three games they played against Kansas City shows the adjustment that they've made on defense for that second half. And they're a really good second half defense. They are really solid.
yeah. And all 3 games they beat the Chiefs. They won by 3 against a healthy Mahomes, and we will talk about what's not the same from those 3 games now.
Right, so let's stay right there, right? Let's look at the Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills, right? They beat the Buffalo Bills 27-10. Okay, the game was never really that close.
The game was over at 2 touchdowns, 14-0. The game was over. We didn't know it, but it was over.
And here's the thing, right? This is the issue that we've been looking at with the Buffalo Bills, right? We've talked about it on this show, and it's been discussed ad nauseum on other platforms as well, right? The Buffalo Bills are built almost like a dome team. They are not built for the outside elements, and that's what's frustrating, right? Because one of the biggest home field advantages in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills stadium and that weather in December and January. And guess what? All the Bengals did was come out, right? Oh, there's some snow on the ground? Watch me. Hold my beer.
I don't think that's the case, man. I'm actually going to disagree.
Really?
Yeah. First of all, that's the second loss ever in the history at Buffalo Stadium in the playoffs ever.
Again, but the Bengals
last year
better served to play in that weather.
Last year, they had a really cold game against the Patriots in the playoffs, and they won by 40. I think it's more that this team ran out of gas. This team was so emotional because if you remember the beginning, if I saw a bunch of post games, we're going to do it. We're one team. We're in love. Everything, what happened to Hamilton. We're as close-knit as possible. That's great. But when you lose, as we saw... And, Diggs has every right to be a little upset at the end of the game. He had frustrations. But when you lose, sometimes that all falls apart. I think, remember, they had a game earlier in the year. They got canceled at home. They had to be moved to Detroit. They had the situation with Hamilton that needed, you canceled the game, and that was a gut punch. And then they're not that good. They don't have the... Do you see the offensive weapons they have compared to the Bengals? The Bengals have offensive weapons. They don't have... Diggs is great, but Davis really isn't...
Dawson Knox, young
They're running back. But even then, Knox is all right. Everything relies on Allen. If that guy doesn't do it, and he is, the most prone turnover quarterback in the league, I just think all the situations led to the demise. They just played a way better team. They got exposed. And they got to figure it out because their window's about to close. I don't think the snow... Yeah, it's not obviously the best. But Aaron Rodgers should be a guy that should be in a dome. And that guy is great in the elements except for the playoffs. And this team is becoming that. They're choking in the wrong time.
Yeah, to your point, Josh Allen, he coughed the ball up 32 times down the stretch this season, 16 interceptions, 16 fumbles. I want to say that 14 of those fumbles were lost.
You're not winning football games like that at all.
No, sir.
Well, listen, honestly, and I've alluded to this conversation we had here a few weeks ago about running the football. There's certain times you need to run the ball. When your quarterback is the best running back you have, it's an issue.
It is.
You cannot have that. And to Frankie's point, they are an outdoor team where the outdoor weather, you need to be able to have a grinded out football team. You need to be able to grind the ball. You need to be able to have a fullback. You need to be able to institute a New England Patriots mentality where you can hunker down that tight end. You can go 2 tight end sets, 2 receiver, all these different personnel types where you can run the football.
But
they can't. They can't. They just can't.
They don't have personnel for that.
Correct. They can't. They have not built it that way.
Which, by the way, their GM speaking out of turn after that about how to set up, the perfect draft, how to get the players. I can see now why I don't think that guy's going to last long. Because if he didn't have this team ready, built personnel for that type of weather, if that's the case. And then, like I said, we'll get to the fact that he doesn't know how to eloquently say.
And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Yeah. And again, we'll get into it in a few minutes, but Kansas City, as much as Andy Reid is an anti-run guy, notice how the running backs hit the Pacheco kid.
Of course.
Is a banger.
Of course.
He's a physical
when he
banger,
runs the ball, he knows how to run the ball.
Correct. And then you have your change-up back, but he's found himself a good, and that's the ticket. You got to have that. Yep. Because when the weather turns in the winter, you got to be able to lean on that so then you can throw the football at the right times. If the wind is howling at 18 miles an hour.
Of course. But the ball is not a good thing. This game wasn't windy.
No, the game wasn't
windy.
The Cincinnati
Joe Burrow was doing just fine.
The Cincinnati defense did a great job.
Yeah. Not to mention, everybody said Cincinnati was going to have a problem with 3 linemen down. And they were able.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
They were able to get it done.
I understand that the Bills were favored and it was their house and people may be talking. I don't think it was a choke job. Kudos to the Bengals for saying, hey, we have 3 starting offensive linemen now. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to punch you right in the freaking mouth.
I'm going to tell you what. And again, it did cost me money because I did take Buffalo. And I felt great about it because the line moved in my favor by 2 points. I was like, oh, man, this is great. I do think that the lack of defensive line play hurt Buffalo.
No, Von Miller sucks. That's what you got him for.
That's the situation there that this defensive line, and then you saw the Cincy defensive line rise to the occasion. And they had pressure on Allen the whole game.
You can also add the fact that you're selling tickets for a game that didn't exist.
Correct.
Get your refunds, baby.
Listen, and at this point in the season, what are you doing? First of all, that GM masterclass on how to stick your foot in your mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? That's 1. 2, right? On top of the fact, NFL, what are you doing? That was just grade A bulletin board material for the Cincinnati Bengals. And like Joe Burrow said,
it's not NFL's fault. NFL's got to do it because it's logistics. But that's exactly... And the Bengals are perfect for that. You saw the coach say after the game, I'll figure out any other way to get motivation because sometimes that's the type of stuff you need for added. They were good enough without the motivation. I think they would have won it without it, but I think the motivation made it a clear point. And I'm telling you, it was not even close. This game was a blowout. I don't care about the score.
Yeah.
This was a total...
You watch it. It was almost mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to watch them. They were running out the clock with 8 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, it's gross.
Hey, let's pack it in tight, bro. Let's get out of here. We got some celebrating to do. That's what they were doing. So it wasn't even a conversation. Yep. All right, let's jump back to the Saturday games and let's look at the New York travel to the Philadelphia Eagles. And guys, I'm a Giants fan. I love my boys, but you know what? It was a great season. Let's move on because that was over in the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen.
All the credit to the man himself here who called it. Giants had no shot. It was a landslide. You knew it was coming. Why? Because that team can run the ball. That team has a masterclass defense. That team has everything. The Eagles,
that defensive line got after the quarterback play after play after play. Those guys, and again, they lead the league in sacks.
Right.
Like
72, I think.
They're a super quiet, good defense.
Right.
Like everybody's, Jalen Hurts, the offense, AJ Brown, Devontae.
Everybody's on like me. Niners are the best defense, but after seeing that,
okay, I want to say, I will say that I think the Niners are the best overall team defense, but that back seven of the Eagles, those are when we talk about ball hawks.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Those guys are ball hawks. Like they come downhill on you, man.
Listen, Brock Purdy. So I know I'm jumping it that the Niners are in there, but Brock Purdy's going to really have a wake up call for his first game.
Well, I mean, we're gonna look at it in a second, but I don't think there's much to talk about here, right? 38-7, game was over really quickly. Hurts looks healthy. Yeah. He looks the part. And let me tell you,
he had a Michael Jordan game. The coach said because he was sick the day before.
And he tried not to say it. And
you don't want to put that pressure.
But here's the thing, right? we were worried about Hurts and his injury. He looked extremely healthy enough to be extremely productive because they don't need him to be a 400-yard passer. They don't need him to be a dude put the game on my back. No, it's, hey, listen, read that outside backer, read that defensive end. If he comes down the line, pull it and go for the slant for 25.
Right now, he's the opposite of Josh Allen. He takes care of the ball. He knows where, not to mention, he has weapons. I mean, Smith, Brown, like I said,
Goddard,
the running backs. It's just, and he himself is crazy at running on. I mean,
the offensive line is solid.
Offensive line is probably the best in the league. I mean, honestly, the only thing I took from that game is when I saw that the coach had been at one point, there was a point where the coach, you heard him go, "I know what I'm doing," for the Eagles. I thought that was the funniest thing and the only thing of worthy of note. Yeah. That's where we're at.
Well, it could be a good thing and a bad thing, right? He's a young coach, has a chip on his shoulder. I did like the little moxie of him, shaking his head in the camera and stuff like that. But you know what? Reel it back in, big guy, because this is going to be a little bit of a different story on Sunday. So, thoughts? Are we good with that? We can move on. Okay,
give me the good ones.
Come on, we can't bash the Giants.
No.
Can't say how much they suck.
It was a great season.
They were a bad team in a terrible situation.
Sir,
they did
better. Backed into the playoffs.
They did better than what they were supposed to.
They overachieved. Thank you. We're gonna move on. We're gonna keep the conversation amicable, gentlemen.
They were this year's Raiders.
Wow.
They were this year's Raiders of last year.
Listen, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to cloak this into self-deprecation.
No, sir.
The Raiders didn't win the wild card, right?
No, so they got into the playoffs last year. And they were horrible.
Didn't win their wild card, though.
Oh, yeah, I get it. That's okay.
Okay, so jumping to the Sunday game, because I do want to close with Kansas City and our analysis of that on the divisional segment. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. Okay, I do understand that everybody's throwing it on the offensive ineptitude of the Dallas Cowboys and all this craziness, but that defense played pretty well. Okay, that defense played pretty well for them, and if it isn't for Dak Prescott throwing those two bonehead interceptions, because overall I think the complexion of the game is different if not for those two throws.
It changes on the Pollard injury.
That too.
When Pollard gets hurt, everything goes out the door. Because honestly, he has been
that
the
was
cog.
Their game plan.
He's been the cog. He really has been. He's the guy that don't dump the ball off to, and he breaks it 45. Like, it changes the whole complexion of the game.
And the whole year, the way they win games is when they run the ball more than they throw it. If you let Dak be the guy trying to win it for you, you're not going to win. Dak is also, like Josh Allen, prone to be turning over. The guy had like a 7 straight stretch with like a couple interceptions, 3 straight games with pick sixes. You can't trust him anymore. You have the social media for Dallas putting shade on him. You got Parsons putting shade on him. That's a bad situation.
Can I make an anecdotal statement? There's no data behind this at all.
You're usually good for that.
You know what?
He is a non-data guy.
Go ahead.
Don't talk about it. Let's not go
there. Ahead. Let's hear your go.
The situation with the finger in his injury. Do you think that may have played a role that he came back a little too early? Like, that's kind of like my
Are you talking Urban Meyer fingers or?
No, not the fingers.
No, because he makes $45 million or something per year. You're a starting quarterback. Plenty of people.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Aaron Rodgers had a finger. He was playing fine. You man up. You play the game. Listen, Dak's a great guy. Everybody always says you want to match the player with how good the guy is. He's not that good of a player.
No, listen,
he's average at best.
That pick that he threw to the sideline.
Terrible.
Rookies
don't make that.
Coach, I would not have thrown that.
He got outplayed by Mr. Rivera.
You've coached football for how long?
I mean, no, it's too long.
Too long, right? But you've coached a bunch of quarterbacks. And we coached. What do they tell you? Man. If you double clutch it, you got to either tuck it and go or get down. And he triple clutched that.
Terrible.
The last pick in the draft beat you.
You can't listen to your feet. Someone who was a terrible quarterback in high school, but at least I played. You can't listen to your feet. Okay, once you're there and you double clutch it and you pull the ball in, listen, you got to take it and get what you can.
Again, the picks were just so bad. Because I understand if it's a tip ball, the receiver bobbles it. Again, there's a bunch of interceptions that are not the quarterback's fault. But Dak just played so poorly.
Right, but then let's even bypass that. What's up with the punt at the end of the game, wasting 30 seconds? I mean, that head coach, I've always been... I don't like McCarthy. I thought it was a bad deal. He's only good the last couple of years because the rest of the team is talented. So it's going to win you games. But that is just terrible.
How
Letting
about
all
Zeke
that
Elliott
time.
at center?
And then the last play, you want to be my ultimate. Listen,
Zeke Elliott's last play as a Dallas Cowboy. He's at center.
I have a pet peeve.
Went full A11 offense. So it girls flag football. Is Jay Stewart calling the offense there?
I mean, for
I have a
goodness
pet
sakes.
peeve. I hate coaches that think they're cute. Why are you cute? Why you got Zeke at center? I mean, just run the regular play. First of all, if you run it regular and they don't make fun of you, you weren't going to score a touchdown. You need the ultimate miracle. By the way, we scored a touchdown. We still got to rely on your kicker to make an extra point, which you missed in the game. Well, it was blocked. We knew it was going to go to San Francisco Bay. I mean, come on. Like, this team, Jerry Jones, I'm sorry, man. You're not going to last long enough to see your team win, bro.
It's an ugly way to go. Because, again, if it's a close game, they lose on the field goal, you can say, well, man, they put up a great fight, home field advantage, et cetera, et cetera.
You had it there.
No, nothing.
The Niners' offense was stagnant. They couldn't do nothing. They had their little miracle play
as
with.
Frank said earlier, the defense played well. I mean,
they were there.
The Dallas defense did not play that badly.
And you let them go. And, of course, you screwed my 14 parlay.
Looking on the flip side, right? Let's talk. I know it's all about the Cowboys because, how about them Cowboys? Everybody, either you hate to love them or you love to hate them.
Let's talk about the real team. Right.
Let's talk about the real team there, the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy, another young quarterback, okay? In his first year starting, Mr. Irrelevant, right? Didn't have like a crazy turnout game here or a coming out party, if you will, but he did take care of the football, right?
Limits mistakes.
Limits his mistakes and then allows the defense to win it for him, right? Because in the end there, that's who closed out the game for him because it was still very much a close game, okay, until midway through the fourth quarter.
I'm going to say this about Purdy, though. He's had his schedule has been a lot of home games. He only had like one true road game when he went to the Seahawks, but that's a divisional game. Well, and we saw what a really good defense could do to him. I think that's why this weekend against the Eagles, he's gonna actually revert back to. When we get to that, he played good, but you already saw the signs of he's a rookie and he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Listen, I will
and only because you have the greatest defense probably in the league, and he has a lot of talent. I honestly think Skylar Thompson would probably be undefeated on this team.
No, okay, let's not go that far. Okay, now you're going a little crazy.
Why?
Because I will tell you this though, right? Second half,
right? He 31 against the Bills.
He gets flushed out of the pocket. He avoids the sack. Is rolling, right? To his left, right? Comes back across his body, sees Kittle over the middle, delivers the ball. That's a big time play.
Right. Well, he also did have to touch it 5 or 6 times on his fingers to catch it. It wasn't the most perfect pass.
Again,
he has things going for. He has things. Yeah, big time play by the tight end,
and
not by more than the tight end.
I do think that Purdy's pedigree is.
He's good.
He's a good quarterback.
He's good. Let's not anoint him Tom Brady.
He's not a big guy. He's not tall.
No one's going that way.
Well, that's what people say.
No.
Late round pick. He's undefeated. Everything.
We still got to wait 7 Super Bowls later.
Correct. My point is, it could all end in one game.
Overreaction?
Right.
No.
Right.
Now, let's pose the question on this in this way, right? From this perspective. Okay? Purdy is 7-0 since taking over.
Yeah.
Okay? At this point, do you believe that he's earned the right, okay, to have the starting job for next year in the 2023 season? Do you keep him if you're the 49ers as a starter?
Of course I keep him because he's cheap.
Well, I think he goes into fall camp as a starter. He goes into practice in the fall camp as the starter.
Yeah, you still gotta try out,
and you gotta win
because you got that guy is your top pick, and even if he starts and you want to trade him, you gotta have him at least good, so you get something.
You want to showcase Lance in preseason,
and then you could obviously get rid of Brock Purdy if you want. You'll get something for him. The point is, he does. I think he earned it, but it all depends on if he gets exposed this weekend. Because.
But even if he does,
but if he gets exposed, he's gonna at least have to battle more than I think he would.
I said, even if he throws 3 interceptions, has a bad game, okay? Guy went 7-1, took over a team that has gone through a lot and has had a good season. So you go into the fall as the designated starter. You still got to win it. You still got to play well. Got to show that you are the starter. You can't just cruise through fall practice.
All right, well, there you have it. All right, let's cap off the segment with the class of the league until proven otherwise. Right, the Kansas City Chiefs take out the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-20. Okay, and that was after all of the theatrics that happened in the game, having to do with the ankle injury, which we're going to talk about as we lead into this weekend's games. But gentlemen, what are your thoughts? I was surprised by the Jaguars showing there. It was a close game for a little bit, but the Jaguars did show that they are, in fact, a year or two away from actually competing.
All that matters is they covered.
All that matters is they covered.
Unlike the other two Ducks.
Well, like you told me, Gil, the Chiefs have been not a good cover team in the... So,
a big spread cover team. They're not good.
And the Jags showed you with their moxie of coming back. And I kind of felt like after, going and dissecting and listening to our famed deep diver, that yes, this was going to be a good game. And it was. The fourth quarter was tight. And it
was tight, yeah.
First of all, you got to give props to the greatest backup right now. The old Chad Henne, who could have been the future for the Dolphins long, long ago. Didn't pan out, but he found his place. Being the ultimate backup. He's like the old school Steve DeBerg. Ready whenever. Bring it in. And the guy goes 98 yards, man.
That was a great...
That is what wins you the game.
It was a great drive. Amazing. They started on their 2-yard line. If they get stopped, now Jacksonville has momentum, and all of a sudden you're in a battle.
Yeah. Let me tell you that
great drive.
That drive there is what defined the game. Because if the Jaguars stop them there, this is we're having a totally different conversation right now.
That is the key to the game. The fact that he was able to do that, and then obviously Mahomes coming back. And, you're on all the adrenaline in the world. I don't know how he's going to play this week on a high ankle sprain. But that guy in that game is still, whatever percentage, still better than anybody, even Chad Henne. It's good for the 98, but we needed him to finish the game. But, man, it really relies on the 2 turnovers at the end of the game by the Jags. The fumble that Etienne had and the pick that Lawrence, who had played great. If those don't happen, I think they beat him. It's crazy.
100%. Listen, if again, like you said, Mahomes turning into a pure pocket passer and putting the team on his back, right? Just pure adrenaline. And like you said, right? We're going to get into it in the next segment here about how we think he plays or not.
Adrenaline. I'm going to call it nuts.
Oh, because that
guy on the side was like, no, I'm good. No, listen, no, I'm good.
But when they invest $250 million, hey, come here, look.
No, the coach did the right thing. But again,
coincides.
He is a guy that that's one of the things I love about him. That no matter what the money, he's a gamer.
He's a gamer. That post game showing how it doesn't matter. You're not taking me out of the game.
Exactly.
Anybody with that type of money goes, hey, might make it. I've already got a Super Bowl. That guy wants to play every game. Put it on my back.
Let me get back in there. Let me lead my team.
That's why people say that Burrows is the best quarterback, but Mahomes is the best athlete, quarterback, everything together, all in one package.
Best athlete, right.
And then obviously it doesn't hurt to have the best tight end in the game with Kelsey. That guy's a monster. Just that's why you can't give up on the Chiefs, no matter what. Even with what's coming up this week, it's going to be a task. I mean, you can't put them out.
Well, there you go, right? So those matchups last weekend, they set up this weekend's matchups. NFC Championship game. San Francisco 49ers are traveling over to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at the Link. Okay, that's going to be an old school game. We're gonna preview that right now. And on the AFC side, Cincinnati Bengals are going over to Kansas City for the second year in a row to take on the Chiefs. We'll be right back with our segment on this weekend's championship games.
Put the 20 for me.
And we're back to keep the ball rolling here. We're going to go over championship weekend right now with the crew. Okay? Let's start off right now. We were just talking about it off the air. All right? The NFC Championship this weekend. That's at 3 o'clock tomorrow. All right? San Francisco 49ers traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles. Coach, take it away.
We were just talking a couple minutes ago, and when you take a look at both of these teams, they are almost a carbon copy of each other. The 49ers run the ball 48.5% of the time. Philadelphia, 49.3%. San Francisco passes 51.5% of the time. Philadelphia, 50.7%. They both lean on their running games. Their pass completion percentage. San Francisco, 65.7%. Philly, 65.4%. Yards per completion. Philly, 11.6. San Francisco, 11.7. So they're very, very much carbon copy of each other. Their defensive lines are good. The only weakness really is the San Francisco back. They do give up a high percentage of passes, but they do a great job of limiting the yards per completion, which is under 10. It's 9.7. The other difference is that Philadelphia sacks the quarterback a lot more than the Niners do. So they do put more pressure with their front four only, which is great. That's what you want. You want to play coverage football, not have to send another guy and be able to get to the quarterback or put pressure on him. Rookie quarterbacks are 0-4. They've never won in this situation. They're 1-3 ATS. The only one that won, I think, was getting 14.5 points. So that is the biggest question mark going into this game is Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I agree. My glaring thing is you have a guy that's a rookie, no matter how well he's played, he's still fresh. Rookie, last pick against the guy that could easily be said to be the MVP of the league as the quarterback. I mean, at the end of the day, it seems like it'll be a close game and it could be, down to the minute, or I think like we spoke off air, the Eagles could just do what they did last week, because if you start turning the ball over for Brock Purdy, this game's going to get out of hand quickly. And the defense that the Eagles have won't allow you to do these comebacks that have been, prevalent during the season. So, I mean, I'm going to go with the Eagles, I think, taking it in. That would be my guess. If the Niners win, I won't be shocked, obviously, either, because great defenses do win football games, too. They could turn the ball over no matter what. But I just think this game smells, and the Eagles have been the number one team basically all year, and you do not want to be the road team in Philadelphia in January. That fan base is going to be tough. So,
well, let me say, I do. There's two reasons why I'm going for room for the 49ers here. Number one, right? Obviously, I'm a Giants fan and I hate the freaking Eagles, and I don't want to see them go to the Super Bowl and have a pretty legit chance of winning it. And will I be happy for Jalen Hurts? Sure. Number two is the dude, my stepdad who raised me. He's a huge Niners fan. Okay, and I don't want to have to deal with him all season talking about how this game was bullshit. Okay, but obviously I am going for the Niners. Right, I would like to see McCaffrey win a ring. All right, that would be great. They've been on a roll this second half of the season, and again, like I said, they're 7-0. Brock Purdy as a starter, 7-0 the last 7 games. I think they have momentum on their side, and I think if anybody can stymie the momentum of playing at the Link, okay, and come out successful, it would be the Niners. They have the defense to do it, they have the running game to do it, and they have the head coach who is a mad scientist out there with his scheming ability to get it done. So that's my take on that, aside from the numbers and everything else.
No, I mean, again, there's 3 things in this game that will determine the outcome. Number 1 is Lane Johnson. Philadelphia goes as he goes. The right tackle for that offensive line. It's gonna be a stiff test because he's hurt. He's got a groin tear. And can't do surgery, and it's not gonna matter whether he plays or doesn't play. It's gonna be the same thing. So he's playing on guts alone. We'll see how long. If he can play the whole game. Again, this San Francisco 49er defensive line is no joke. Secondly, can San Francisco run the football? If they're able to successfully run the ball, I think it allows Brock Purdy a little
bit more confidence to get into the groove of the game.
To be more comfortable, for the game to slow down. And last but not least is Brock Purdy himself. Are they going to run him? Will they do some Brock Purdy runs? Because again, I think that could also help sway the game towards San Francisco. Good defenses travel. Got a good defense. Their weakness is the back 7. So again, with those 3 things in mind, I mean, I am leaning towards the Eagles. I do think the Eagles will win the game. I can't put my finger on it. We were just talking off air. I'm either, if it gets to 3, I may take 3 and then take the alternative line with the Eagles at minus 16.5. Because I think it's either a very close game or it's a blowout, just like we saw last weekend.
So here's my thing, right? You look at the numbers, right? You see where the money's going in, and you had talked about all the statistics, right? How they're almost a facsimile of one another, right? Do you think that if this was on a neutral ground, it'd be a pick'em?
Well, no, obviously.
You know what I'm saying? Because usually, if you're getting 2.5, it's really a pick'em. It's just they're getting favored because they're home, right?
Obviously, the 2.5 point spread shows that it opened at 1.5.
Okay.
It opened at 1.5. So technically speaking, on a neutral field, San Francisco may have been favored by a point.
Got it.
1.5.
Okay.
So it got bet up to 2.5. Philadelphia is the popular bet. Everybody's on Philadelphia. So that always worries me. I don't like it. Okay, it's gone to 2.5 and it stopped at 2.5. So again, it's a great game. I think it's gonna be a very, very close game. I think it's gonna be a great matchup.
I think this has a better chance of being a better game than the nightcap we're going to talk about right now between the Bengals and the Chiefs. Right?
You think so?
I think it has a better. I think the 49ers and Eagles game has a better chance of being a close game, a defensive game than the.
Okay, but you're saying
a better game. But what
you're saying it's more of a defensive game.
What I define as a better game isn't necessarily with
as
the public.
A low scoring.
Right. A low.
Okay.
Punch you in the mouth.
Because in the nightcap we might get 7,000 points.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's what the public likes, and I know you're of my mindset that you like the defensive battle and
but
going back and forth.
I think it's going to be the other way around.
Really?
I think that they're going to fly over the over in the Philly game, and they're going to go under in the Kansas City game.
Well, let's jump into it right now. Right? Let's look at the nightcap here. Right? The Cincinnati Bengals are traveling over to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs for the second year in a row. Right, we've already kind of seen this story. Joe Burrows was able to take it a distance last year and stun the Kansas City Chiefs at probably one of the best home field advantages in the league. Can he do it again? Grizz, can he do it again?
Yes, he's already done it 3 times, like I said, with a healthy Mahomes. Now we got a guy coming off a high ankle sprain that normal human beings take about 5 weeks to get back. He said it doesn't matter what happens, he's playing this week, and I believe him. And like I said, 70%, 60% of Pat Mahomes is still better than anything else you got in the league. But it's going to be tough. The guy has done it, like I said, every game against him. Every game's been a 3-point game. That's why I agree with Gil. I think this will be a game, regardless of the score, if it's high or low. I think it comes down to the last possession. What quarterback has it last? Because I think Mahomes still, regardless, will keep it close. If he's in the game and he can throw upright, he has the weapons to keep you close. Talk about motivation. They're both seeking motivation. The Bengals are trying to manifest something because now they're the favorite. So what do
Not
you do?
anymore.
The line switch?
Oh, the lines flip back.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Give it to us,
wow.
Coachy. What do we got?
yeah.
What do we got, Coachy?
Then we got to go Bengals all day if we got them at plus.
They're getting only 1.5. You're getting 1.5. I don't know.
Still, I'll go money line all day then.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I know. You think the Chiefs going to make it, huh?
The line opened at 3.
Okay.
Everybody and their mother jumped on Cincinnati.
I didn't even notice that.
Everybody jumped on Cincy.
Of course.
Because again, the whole Mahomes situation.
The Mahomes situation is huge.
Can he not move? So then the line flipped all the way to Cincinnati minus 2.5.
Ooh, yes, I knew that. That's where I thought it was, or maybe
And then all of a sudden it's come all the way back to Kansas City minus 1.5.
Okay.
I took
Now
Kansas
we
City.
have our motivation for the Bengals.
I took Kansas City minus 1. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what my thought process is here. Again, I do believe that these two teams, just like the other game, are micro copies of each other. Mm-hmm. They don't run the ball a lot. They throw the ball a lot. Their completion percentage is very close. I think that what changes now is A, Pacheco's presence in this offense,
Right.
and B, the Kansas City D-line is much better than the Buffalo D-line. And I think that this is where the weakness or the injuries to that Bengals offensive line comes in.
They should get more pressure than they did
I
last
think
week.
they will get more pressure. There's also been a little chippiness. There's also been a little talk back and forth.
Of course.
They're calling Arrowhead Burrowhead.
I heard.
So,
Not a
baby.
thing.
And I do think that Kansas City is going to come out with a different mindset in this game. And I really do like Kansas City to win this game. In every game that they've played, Kansas City has won the first half. Okay? But they've messed up in the second half and allowed Cincinnati to come back
Right.
and win. I think it'll be different in this game. I think Kansas City will maintain the momentum, and I think Kansas City will be able to beat Cincinnati and go to the Super Bowl again. I think Mahomes will have enough in him
Yeah.
to be able to move around enough to get the ball off, to throw, to make the right plays. And in years past, they were Tyreek centered. This year it's not. They are spraying the ball around a lot more, and I think that helps Mahomes.
Of course.
And I think that will help him in this game. Because now it's who do you really cover? That's why you see Kelsey getting so open.
Yeah.
Because Schuster can still play ball.
Yeah, I think McKinnon has been clutch for them all year.
McKinnon?
Having that kind of back there.
McKinnon is a
he's
solid-
switch up, but he's great for the passing game.
Correct.
Yep. So personally, before you say something real
Yeah.
quick, I'm personally gonna tell you I want the Chiefs to win. I want a Chiefs-Eagles Andy Reid storyline. I want the brother Kelseys to battle
To face
first
each
time
other.
ever. They do a pod together. That's going to be a fantastic.
Well, that's the other thing
couple
now.
weeks.
And-
if
and-
that's the case.
And the center went down last week with a little
Yeah.
bit of an ankle. So again, those are just underlying storylines for both games that I'm watching.
And honestly, any matchup in the Super Bowl this year intrigues me a lot.
Right.
You can either have a rematch of the Niners Chiefs from a couple years ago, have your third round at Niners Bengals. And even though I think the most unpopular, because I don't know about the storylines for Bengals and Eagles, you still have a storyline. Hurts against Burrows, and probably the two best teams, because you could say the Bengals are playing the best, the Eagles are playing. Usually, you know, NFL is like worried about what matchup, because everybody's, Buffalo not being in there, that's bad for it. I think it's actually the perfect scenario. All four teams in here could be any matchup. I think it's going to be amazing Super Bowl. But my final thing, Chiefs probably going to, man, now that you told me the Bengals are the underdog, it's a flip of the coin. But I'll go with you. I think Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl.
Okay.
Again, they're just hearing so much 3-0. Cincinnati's been.
Of course, the
even
world
though,
is against you now.
even though they're professionals, okay,
Nobody likes that.
football is a very
Emotional
emotional and you're trying me like that. Now we suck. I'll see you guys in Burrowhead. The D lineman,
Burrowhead, yeah.
the D lineman said that the other day walking off the stage. I'll see you guys in Burrowhead on Sunday. So you know that's in their crawl.
So, okay, I stayed pretty quiet. Let you guys talk because I was
What a
trying to
miracle.
process
What a
my
miracle.
thoughts here.
Best moment of the show.
Thank God.
If Mahomes was healthy, for me it would have been Chiefs by 1,000.
Well, I don't know about that. Even healthy, remember.
Because like you said, like you guys said, like I just think that Burrowhead situation, like I know what it is to get that and just have that firing, burning sensation to just take and punch somebody in the mouth when you get on that football field. I get that. However, I do think that this ankle injury is going to be a significant factor in this game because the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line has been just pinning their ears back the past few weeks, okay? Sam Hubbard might have sorry, FCC. He might have 4 or 5 sacks, okay? Why? Because they're going to put him opposite of where Mahomes, they're going to put him on the side where Mahomes likes to roll out. He's not going to be as mobile, okay? And the problem with these high ankle sprains, excuse me, the problem with these high ankle sprains is that if it was a regular ankle sprain, right, you wrap it up with a bunch of tape, give him a little shot, and he's fine, chilling, right? The problem with these high ankle sprains is that it's right in that joint structure where all of your weight is being pushed down on, right? It's literally the juncture of where your heel separates your two bones, okay? those injuries don't heal very quickly because of the fact that there's not a lot of blood flow in there. Right. So it's not so much of the ligament; it's the tendons and the fascia that holds those two bones together. That's painful, and it doesn't heal fast. There's really no taping that you could do for that. So the dude needs to be
your pain tolerance.
Yeah, it's your pain tolerance. It's what kind of sack do you have strapped in between your legs, and when it comes down to it.
This to me
can he overcome that mentally? Because this is a mental game at this point for him.
And this is the perfect person to do just that. This is the Michael Jordan of our sport. This is a guy that can play with this type of injury. I am telling you, I'm in the same boat. It's a 5 week to 6 week at least before you're normal.
And sometimes as long as 6 months.
Of course.
If it's nice up in there high.
But this is a different cat.
Grizz, if anyone could do it, I would agree with you that it's the homie.
I just don't think I think this is still a last possession either team game, hurt or not hurt. It's just they're too good. And
can I go shock jock on you right now?
Chad Henne is still your backup that could lead you to at least keeping it close.
Can I go shock jock on you right now?
Shock jock.
Bengals 31-24.
Oh wow!
So they win by a touchdown. That's probably in the last play.
By a tutty.
Wow. You left us.
I even feel better about Kansas City now.
Yeah. You left us just in awe of your
because shockness. You guys are going like 1 point differential here. That I think it's more than that.
One score is still the key there. Remember, keep it within a score. It's not like they're not going to play them like the Bills. They're not going to have a 27-10 win. They're not going to take them outside and to the woodshed. Even like I said, Pat Mahomes healthy. You got two great teams that are going to show you. At the end of the day, I think you got a touchdown. I think it's a field goal like the rest of them, but this time in the Chiefs' favor.
All that being said, I think when it's all said and done, Super Bowl matchup is at 1986 or 87 Super Bowl.
Bengals 1988 and 1981.
Okay, Bengals 49ers in the Super Bowl.
I would like it.
This game might cost me a couple $1,000s now. I might go all out here. Wow.
You want to make some money, guys? Fade that pick.
Fade the Frankie. FF. Fade the Frank.
So we're fading Frank in this episode?
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Again, I've watched the clips of him moving. I've watched him throwing the ball. I think that Andy Reid will make the right plays. I think that the defensive coordinator, former New York Giants head coach, I think he is going to be able. I think they have enough now to really get over the hump and beat Cincinnati. I do believe that. Again, I think Burrows is a great quarterback. They're loaded with weapons. But the Kansas City defense does limit completion percentage yardage. They've been burned for a couple of long plays here and there. But I do think that the D-line will establish itself and be able to get to Burrows. I think that's what changes the game. I don't think that the O-line will be able to keep up with these guys. It's different than in the Buffalo game.
All right. Let's see what happens, right? We are a show of integrity, and the games will be played tomorrow.
Definitely,
that's why they play the games, and we'll see what happens. And somebody's getting crushed, and somebody's doing the crushing next episode. Well, coming up this week.
And by the way, this just came up on the screen. One of the most heavily bet props for the game is the AJ Brown over in yards receiving.
We're gonna cover that for the deep dive.
Well, with that being said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am now leaning towards maybe taking that under. I'm gonna do numbers on it for the next couple of days, and I'll post that on Twitter. But once again, 99% of the bets are on the over at MGM. Once it becomes such a public bet, now you guys will start looking the other way. Now you start looking the other way because it's just such a popular play that now it's already moved to 70.5 yards for the game. I have to see what his target is. And again, I have to see what. Again, the 49er defense, even though they've given up here and there, they only give up 9.5 yards a completion. They're good, man. They give up 240 yards, gross passing yards a game. So it's not like they give up a ton. They average 2.5 sacks a game. So, I mean, if the prop, I wish I had an over sack prop in this game because I would take it. Because I think Purdy's gonna get sacked a couple times. I think Hurts is gonna get sacked. So that's interesting.
All right, we'll be right back with a little bit of deep dive action and some UFC talk, right, to close out the show.
Little bit.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're back to close out the show with probably the quickest deep dive of the year. Okay, but the shortest one is gonna get a lot longer here pretty soon once we dive deep into basketball season. So, but coach, take it away. Let's make it happen.
No. Well, again, as I said earlier, I like Kansas City. I was waiting to see how Mahomes looked. I do think Kansas City is going to come out and play with a chip on their shoulder. I think all this Burrowhead talk is something that's not conducive to Cincinnati's ability to win the game. With that being said, on the other side of the game of the echelon, I like the Eagles, but San Francisco is a formidable opponent. So I'm pretty much staying away from that game. It concerns me just because the Eagles can run away with it. They really can, and so I'm not sold on Brock Purdy as he's a rookie. He's a quarterback. He's done great, but he's a rookie playing way above his head. He really is. So again, we'll see how that goes. There are some props that I will put out during the week. I'm waiting to see what prop numbers I get. I do think there's a prop out there of completions for Hurts at 20. My numbers give me he's going to complete 22 passes. So we'll see. I do think that they'll do a good job of that. And that's their path to victory, is throwing the football.
It really is.
Because the San Francisco defense is stout against the run. So again, we'll see how that works out. As far as MMA last week, man, we went 1-2. The Bonfil brothers are a force to be reckoned with.
I saw that one kick, the knee to the jaw, and it was night, sir.
He did a great job. He won for us, Ishmael. And then his brother ended up kneeing the other guy that we took. We took Lazez. And man, it was good. Lazez came out, got a couple of nice, powerful leg kicks, was looking good. But this guy jumped on him, and he looked like Ortega with the quick wraparound, and got the win on the choke. It was a standing choke. It's a great move, and he does that. That is his move. That is the move that he likes. That's what he does. He does the guillotine, and he got it. He jumped on. Lazez went for a takedown, and Bonfim got him, and it was over. It was all over but the crying. Yeah, and then Warley ends up losing a very close split decision, 29-28 all the way across the boards. So that could have gone either way. This week there isn't much in terms of fights. Nothing for us. There's PFL. Next week there will be some. There's a fight night, so we'll go over that next week when we get there, and then we'll talk about a little bit on the Super Bowl and start getting ready.
Super Bowl, right? We got to start, doing our homework on XFL and USFL. That's going to be fun stuff.
That's next.
And, get ready, start getting deep into the weeds with basketball season as football season wears down. It was a nice little quick deep dive here. Nice little quick episode as our NFL and football coverage in general is winding down and we get geared up for the next sports. Listen, it's been a great start to the year so far. We love what we do. This is always fun. That's why we go to great lengths as we can to get these shows out to you guys. So listen, keep listening, keep sharing,
subscribe, rate, do all of the above.
Listen, interact with us. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you don't want to hear. Okay, what do you want to hear us talk about? Give us that. Give us that information so we can continue to refine the show, right, and give you guys what you want. It's been extremely fun for this past, damn near 2 years at this point. And we're going to keep it going, man, because it's been nothing but a joyride for us. For Frank, the Grizz, and Coach, there's 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.